Hello there. All right, and welcome to our centering moment for today. According to Tina Turner, in the song "What's Love Got to Do with It," she says, "It may seem to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If I tend to look dazed, I've read it someplace. I've got a cause to be. There's a name for it. There's a phrase that fits. But whatever the reason, she says, you do it for me." And then she asks the questions, but oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a secondhand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? All right, in our story today in Ruth chapter 2, beginning with verses 8 through 11, first of all, we see the decision. Naomi is leaving for Moab. Right here you see in the map, which is about 50 miles east of Bethlehem. And she is leaving with her husband and her two sons. And they move to Moab, and the two sons find wives. And they move to the neighborhood which is called Happily Ever After. Naomi, her husband, and her two sons, and her two daughter-in-laws. However, something strange happens in the story. Notice the despair. First of all, see the desperation. Naomi runs into what we can best describe as unforeseen circumstances. And if you don't know what unforeseen circumstances look like, feel like, just keep living. They're going to show up. They're showing to go up. First, there's the loss of her husband. After living in Moab for about a year, her husband passes away. And then 10 years later, her two sons pass away. Wow. And now she's faced with going back to Bethlehem, and then one of her daughter-in-laws decides that they're going to stay in Moab. So she has the loss of her husband, two sons lost, passed away, and a daughter-in-law decides to stay in Moab, and one of her daughter-in-laws goes with her. She loses everything, despair, the desperation. And she returns home, and of course Ruth goes into this. Naomi goes into a place called depression. She goes into a state of depression. And Ruth goes to work. And Ruth decides to go to the field, and she goes to work, and she has her head down, and she just works all day. Matter of fact, she works without a break. And around about that time, notice how the directions in the story start to change. Boaz, who owns the field, arrives and sees Ruth, and he begins to ask about who she is. And after he discovers her story, he tells the workers, make sure they protect her, and then Boaz provides for her. And what I mean by that is he supplies her daily bread and water. He invites her to lunch. He says, come and lunch with me, have lunch with me. And then he begins to tell her to, whenever you want to take a break, whenever you want some water, please go with the other workers, be a part of that. And please take and eat. And she eats because she's hungry. She's been working all day. And then Boaz goes on to tell her that now I want you to stay in my field. Don't go anywhere else. And Boaz, and again, he tells his workers, he tells Ruth that my workers are going to protect you. And of course, Ruth is amazed. Notice her humility. She says, how is it that I, a foreigner, in this town called Bethlehem have found favor with you? Good question. We see the desperation, we see the directions of Boaz, and the question becomes, what is Boaz's motivation? Why is he so kind to Ruth? Is concern the same as love? And is love is the same as concern? What is this attraction that Boaz has for Ruth? What about the other workers? Why have they not been invited to lunch with Boaz? And my final question is, how does he know exactly what she needs? What is this attraction? All right. Let me know what you think. Thank you. All right. All right. Gotta go.